Hi, today we're talking about Excel functions, how they work, and how you can use them in your worksheets. Let's start with inserting a function. One of the most commonly used functions in Excel is sum. To use it, just select the cell right below your numbers, click the AutoSum button on the ribbon, and Excel automatically inserts the sum function to calculate the total. You can also insert a function manually by typing it directly into a cell. For example, if you want to enter today's date, just type an equals sign, which tells Excel you're entering a formula. Then type the word today, followed by parentheses. This function doesn't need any inputs, and it returns the current date in the cell. Another way to add functions is by using the function library, found in the Formulas tab. It's a convenient option because you can browse through categories like financial, logical, text, date and time, and many more. When you select a function from the library, for example, let's choose the Today function. Excel opens a window called the Function Arguments dialog box. This box provides helpful details about the function you've selected. At the top, it says, this function returns the current date formatted as a date. The word returns means the result the function gives back after it runs. In this case, it places today's date into the cell where the formula is written. The next line reads, this function takes no arguments. Arguments are the pieces of information or inputs you provide to a function so it can perform its task. Some functions need arguments, and some, like today or now, don't require any. We'll discuss arguments in more detail later when we use functions that do require user input. Finally, at the bottom, it says formula result equals volatile. In Excel, a volatile function is one whose result updates automatically every time the worksheet recalculates. For example, right now, while I'm recording this video tutorial, the date just changed as it hit 12:01 a.m. Now, let's go ahead and change any cell value that affects a calculation, like updating a number in our sum formula. The moment we do that, watch what happens. Both cells containing the today formula instantly update to show the new, current date. This happens because the today function is what we call a volatile function, a function whose result updates automatically whenever Excel recalculates. Now, let's use some functions that take arguments. We'll start with the year function. It takes a single argument called serial_number, which is basically a date. You can either type the date directly or use a cell reference that contains the date. The function then returns just the year part of that date. Some functions require two arguments. For example, the days function. To try it out, let's first write two different dates in our sheet. Then, go to the function library in the Formulas tab and select the days function. You'll see the function arguments dialog box appear with two input boxes, one for end_date and one for start_date. Select the cell with the earlier date for the start_date box and the cell with the later date for the end_date box. Notice how the result is displayed right there in the dialog box. Click OK, and now Excel calculates the total number of days between those two dates. Other functions, like sum, can take multiple arguments, up to 256 of them. You can list individual numbers, cell references, or entire ranges. Let's write a sum formula in a cell, type some values separated by commas. Remember, each value or range you add is called an argument. Press Enter, and you'll see the total of your provided values displayed instantly. Just like we manually wrote the sum function directly into a cell instead of using the function library, you can actually type out any function this way. You don't have to rely on a library. But for beginners, it's really helpful to use the function library because it guides you through the process, showing which arguments a function needs and how it works. Even experienced users sometimes turn to it when they need a quick reminder about a function's details or structure. If you ever need to edit a function you've written, it's important to remember, if you just type over the result in the cell, it'll delete the existing formula. To properly edit a formula or function, you need to enter edit mode first. You can do this in a few ways. The quickest way is to double-click the cell containing the formula, and you'll see the formula appear right there in the cell, ready for editing. Another way is to click on the cell and press F2 on your keyboard. This also opens the formula directly in the cell for editing. Or you can simply click the cell once and look up at the formula bar at the top of the screen. You'll see the formula displayed there too, and you can edit it from that spot. From any of these places, you can adjust the function's arguments, fix mistakes, or even replace the function entirely. You can also use one function inside another. This is called a nested function. It might sound complicated at first, but it's actually very simple once you get the hang of it. For example, imagine you have a mix of positive and negative numbers in a range, and you want to add up the absolute values, ignoring whether they're positive or negative. You could write a formula like the one shown on the screen. In this case, the ABS function turns each number in the range into its absolute value, removing the sign. Then, the sum function adds them all together to give you the total. Just remember, Excel always calculates the innermost function first and then works its way outward. And once you're comfortable nesting one function, you can start combining 2, 3, or even more functions together to build really powerful, customized formulas. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, like the video and subscribe for more Excel tips. See you in the next tutorial.